You're right on time for the bold, authoritative and incisive bulletin Maisha Prime News. Thank you for choosing Maisha TV. My name is Rita Kering Chubet. A lot prepared for you, but first, let's have a look at our top stories. Fighting enters day 6 as Israel vows not to relent. Plus, President William Ruto decked out in cultural regalia while gracing the Turkana Cultural and Tourism Festival. Plus,
wana boda boda tunaumia maana kazi sasa tunafunga saa 2. Wafika saa 3 tumeanza kukatwa. Maana mosi yesi kwanza ameisha nguvu ni mama.
Suspected thugs stoned to death in Kamukuyu Market in Bungoma County. All right, welcome on board. President William Ruto on Thursday joined Turkana traditional dancers. Ruto was mesmerized by the dancers who were ululating and dancing as they jingled jewelry on their necks. As they jumped up and down, President Ruto was seen joining them as he donned his Turkana traditional regalia. The head of state was in Turkana to attend the Turkana Cultural Festival. Our reporter Sandra Kidamani is on that story. Let's check it out.
President William Ruto on Thursday inaugurated the Turkana Cultural and Tourism Festival at Ekalez Cultural Center in Turkana County.
Wakiwa Australia, wakiwa bara lote la Afrika, wakiwa kule Asia, wakiwa sehemu zote. Sasa wote wanakaribishwa nyumbani. Na wakifika nyumbani watafika mpaka hapa Turkana. Hiyo Science Park ambayo ilianzwa na mzee wetu Richard Leakey ambaye ametutangulia. Tumeweka maanani kama serikali tutakuja kujenga hiyo Science Park hapa ili wageni wetu wa kutoka duniani kote wakikuja Kenya wakuje mpaka waone mahali binadamu wa kwanza walianzia.
The ceremony brings together members of the Akacher community that stretches across Kenya, Uganda, Ethiopia and Southern Sudan.
Hiyo Science Park ambayo ilianzwa na mzee wetu Richard Leakey ambaye ametutangulia. Tumeweka maanani kama serikali tutakuja kujenga hiyo Science Park hapa ili wageni wetu wa kutoka duniani kote wakikuja Kenya wakuje mpaka waone mahali binadamu wa kwanza walianzia. Itatusaidia kuongeza watalii watakao kuja Kenya. Itatusaidia kuongeza nafasi ya ajira itakayotokana na watalii wengi watatutembelea. Itatupatia soko ya chakula zetu ikiwemo ng'ombe zetu na nyama na maziwa, na itatupatia nafasi ya kukuza uchumi wa taifa letu la Kenya. Nimeona niseme mambo haya ya culture kwa kirefu, na pia hawa ndugu zetu wa kutoka nchi zingine watusikie, kwa sababu ni ya muhimu na kwa sababu tunataka kuitumia kuendesha uchumi wa taifa letu la Kenya na kupanua nafasi za ajira na kusukuma mambo yetu ya profile ya nchi yetu ya Kenya. Jana nilipata nafasi ya kuongea na viongozi wenu. Niliketi chini pamoja na MCAs jana jioni, niliketi chini na wabunge wenu, pamoja na gavana wenu, na mbali na kutembea katika sherehe hii ya muhimu, pia tumeongea na kupanga mambo ya maendeleo na usalama wa kaunti yetu ya Turkana.
The festival will also serve as a platform to promote peace among communities in the county.
Nataka nimwambie gavana wenu na viongozi wote wa Turkana ya kwamba serikali ya kitaifa tutafanya kazi na serikali ya kaunti ya Turkana kuhakikisha ya kwamba the cradle of humankind, the home of humanity, inakuwa ni mahali ambapo dunia kote watatembea hapa kama vile wanatembea kule Mecca, watakuwa wanatembea hapa Turkana kuja kuona mahali binadamu walianza safari.
The head of state arrived in Turkana County on Wednesday evening and made a brief stopover in Lodwar town where he interacted with the residents.
Vile mulisema kuna Lomidat, mambo ya KMC, nitatuma KMC pale mahali kuna kichinjio ama abattoir. I am going to instruct KMC to take it over and to operationalize. Ndio tuhakikisha kwamba sehemu hii na vile vile mahali pale ya Hides and Skin hapa Lodwar, hiyo vile vile nitaishughulikia. Tayari nitatuma waziri akuja hapo aangalie ndio ajue tutafanya nini, na tukishirikiana na serikali yenu ya county. Vile vile Lake Turkana ambaye ni ziwa kubwa sana yenye iko kwa desert. Waziri Mvurya na huyu Kaituko ambaye ni PS wetu nimempeleka kwa hiyo idara kwa sababu nataka ashughulike na hii Lake Turkana hapa. Hapa Lake Turkana iko na resources nyingi ya chakula. Iko na resource kubwa ya utalii na tunataka kuifungua rasmi. Waziri Mvurya atakuwa hapa in the next 10.
He assured residents that all stalled projects within the devolved units would be completed in the coming months, citing insecurity as a hindrance to the completion of the projects.
Vile vile tumekubaliana na viongozi wenu wamenieleza mambo ya insecurity. Nyinyi mnajua nilisema hapa North Rift tumekuwa na changamoto kubwa ya wizi wa ng'ombe na matatizo ya kukosekana kwa usalama. Watoto wetu hawasomi, watu wanahangaika, watoto wanakuwa mayatima, kina mama wanakuwa wajane na matatizo inakuwa mingi. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Na ndio sababu hiyo nimeongea na hawa viongozi. Tumekubaliana mambo matatu. Ya kwanza, tumekubaliana ya kwamba sub-county ya pale Suguta, sub-county ya Aro na sub-county ya Lokiriama, hizo sub-counties tatu wameniuliza wanataka zianzishwe, na tayari mimi nataka niwaambie watu wa hapa county ya Turkana ya kwamba ndani ya siku 90 days all those 3 sub-counties will be operational.
The president said the government will work to ensure peace prevails in the county.
Ili kutusaidia kusahihisha mambo ya usalama, Waziri Kindiki atakuwa hapa next week kupanga hiyo maneno. Na vile vile jambo la pili, tumekubaliana ya kwamba wale askari tumelete hapa North Rift wa kushughulika mambo ya usalama, wakora tumewatoa kule Baringo, tumewatoa kule Elgeyo Marakwet. Tunasikia wakora hawa wamehamia hapa Turkana. Hawa wakora ambao tumewafukuza kutoka sehemu ingine, tunasikia wamehamia hapa Kapedo. Ati iko shida na Dome, ati iko shida Katilia, ati iko shida na Boyetum. Hawa wakora wote mimi nataka muambie rais amesema mambo yao ni matatu. Na jambo la tatu tumekubaliana na hawa viongozi wenu kwa mambo ya usalama ni kwamba tuko na mpango tayari. In the next 3 weeks tunakamilisha training ya National Police Reserve ambao watakuja kusaidiana na askari wetu kushughulikia hawa wakora, ili tuhakikisha kwamba kuna usalama katika sehemu hii, mifugo yenu iwe salama, watoto wenu wawe salama, tuweke usalama ndio tuzalishe uchumi wa Turkana na uchumi wa taifa letu la Kenya. The 2023 Tobong Lore Turkana Cultural and Tourism Festival is officially opened. Thank you very much and God bless you. Mbarikiwe sana.
Sandra Kidamani, Maisha Prime, Maisha Television.
Moving on, the supremacy battle between the Inspector General of Police and the National Police Commission has been resolved. Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki says the two organs have agreed to undertake their roles as stipulated in the Constitution. The CS was speaking in Parliament when he appeared before the Security Committee of the National Assembly. Mesh Musimbi with more.
The input of the Inspector General and his deputies is critical, and so is the legal authorization. And
Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki has confirmed the truce between the Inspector General of Police Japhet Koome and the National Police Service Commission.
I am glad the public exchanges that were taking place have abated. I am glad that increasingly I've been informed that commission meetings have taken place in the presence of the Inspector General and his deputies, which was a problem that time. In fact, I made it clear to both the Commission and the IG that the conduct that the country was witnessing between those two senior agencies of our national security were impeachable conducts.
In a statement on Thursday, Kindiki revealed that the two entities, the National Police Service, headed by Japhet Koome, and the National Police Service Commission, led by Eliud Kinuthia, had amicably resolved their differences and will work in tandem.
And either of them could be subjected to and violation of the Constitution. I am very happy that that noise is not there, and I want to commend National Police Service Commission and the Inspector General for finding tension in terms of constitutional legitimacy and the delineation of functions and powers between the Commission and the Office of the Inspector General. Whatever differences that were playing out are artificial and they are unwarranted. I think going forward, and that is the, now that this is the committee that is helping the country to look at how we are implementing our Constitution, going forward, every public official, every organ of government must realize that the silver bullet in this 2010 Constitution is that no one organ, no one agency, no one state official as untrammeled power.
The two entities publicly clashed in June this year after Inspector General of Police Japhet Koome directed all National Police Service members not to apply for promotions advertised by the Commission.
Karibu National Police Service headquarters.
At the time, Koome ordered the police to keep off the job opportunities advertised in local dailies by the Commission, stating that they should wait for communication from his office on how such opportunities will be handled. In the latest truce, Kindiki noted that the policy that the Inspector General should be ready to listen and take advice on includes the transfer of police officers who have served in one station for at least 3 years.
His powers and functions include implementing policy decisions, like the yesterday one. Coordinates all police operations. Recommend to the Commission and county policing authorities the distribution and deployment of officers. Now, what I was talking about, the input of the IG in recruitment, promotions, transfers has been captured in this section 10 because it says recommend to the commission. Recommend to the commission the distribution and deployment of officers above the rank of superintendent. In my view, because it's an armed agency, the junior ranks up to inspector, it should be the IG to make a decision, of course with the concurrence of the commission, when there is a delegated instrument, an instrument of delegation. Above the rank from superintendent and above, the recommendation is done to the commission by the IG for approval or lack thereof.
While appearing before the National Assembly Committee on Constitutional Implementation Oversight Committee, Kindiki directed that all police officers who have been within the same police station should be transferred within 60 days.
The Cabinet Secretary cannot direct the Inspector General transfer this officer, promote officer Y, cannot give directives. But just yesterday, we have given directives that all officers who have served for 3 years across the country must move. That is a policy decision. It is not aimed at directing the IG to transfer a particular officer. It's a policy. 3 years you must move. And there are policy reasons why that policy guideline has been given across the board. So it's about the time served. It's not about officer X, officer Y.
He noted the salaries for those who resist will be frozen.
Any directives on the transfer, promotion, etc., of any particular officer, on investigations of any particular person. So there is the use of the singular there.
Mesh Msimbi, Maisha Prime News.
Attorney General Justin Muturi has demanded that the contracts entered by the Kenya Power and Independent Power Producers IPPs be availed to him. Muturi said the agreements were signed without the input or advice of the Office of the Attorney General. Appearing before the National Assembly's Committee on Energy, Muturi said his office needs to know the consequences of renegotiating or terminating the contracts. Bushebi Jr. with more.
The mystery surrounding the ownership of independent power producers deepened further after Attorney General Justin Muturi said they don't have agreements between the government and the IPPs. Muturi testified before the Vincent Musyoka-led Energy Committee, which is investigating the country's high energy costs. The office was kept in the dark about contract signings. Muturi instead requested that the committee make a recommendation to the Director of Criminal Investigation about determining who owns the companies.
And I think in the last parliament, I think this committee or another committee again pushed that matter. And there wasn't much progress made. And I must commend you and commend this committee, the chairman, because at least now you have progressed it beyond where it has always gone.
Members were taken aback by the admission, with Nambale Member of Parliament Geoffrey Mulanya proposing that those who signed the deals take personal responsibility for the billions that could have already been lost.
Did you ever get to fully unearth ownership of some of those companies that we are talking about that particular time?
And there's always been involved. I'm sure will not be where we are. They will still be found guilty because they will not have provided the names of the beneficial owners. That is what the current law requires.
Some of the IPPs have been willing to look at their rates, and I think as a committee we need to move with speed, see how much we can be able to get from them.
Those found to have bound government in unconscionable contracts be meant to take responsibility.
Muturi, on the other hand, insisted that as a state law office department, they cannot request contracts from Kenya Power and instead encouraged Parliament to take the initiative in determining who the true owners of the IPPs are. Muturi was also skeptical of the ongoing contract termination negotiations between Kenya Power and IPPs. He requested that the committee be kept informed of the negotiations if the issue was resolved. The IPPs have been blamed for the country's high power costs, and previous legislatures' efforts to address the issue have been futile.
So that let us know, let people produce those power purchase agreements. Let us look at them. Let us interrogate what are these consequences, because what we've had over the past is a blanket statement that it will be too costly for the government.
He said his office has been told that a team in the Ministry of Energy is looking at possibilities of renegotiating the contracts with the IPPs or terminating them. He reiterated that he would only advise the government after seeing the agreement. In July, the Central Organization of Trade Unions asked the government to revoke all power purchase agreements with the IPPs and negotiate better terms.
We are not breaking any particular law. Maybe from where you sit, where agreements have been signed, some of them international, and then you wake up and say, we don't want them anymore. What do you think is the implication?
Chair, if you listen to me carefully in my presentation, I say today, if you set up a commission or a committee of the engineers, very qualified engineers in an area of electricity supply, and then you say we want to carry out and get a proper report on the supply of electricity by IPPs, maybe you will find 3 or 4, they are the people who are doing the job. And that would be enough reason to get away with these people.
Appearing before the Energy Committee on the National Assembly, Kotu Secretary General Francis Atwoli said IPPs have to be tamed to address the high cost of electricity. He argued that the cost of power that IPPs agree with the government has been, in most cases, higher than the cost of electricity produced by state-owned firms like KenGen.
An investor who is supposed to invest must be specific, sincere, honest, and up to the agreement that he or she entered into. So you cannot keep an investor or fear, say that we want to attract investors when the ordinary person in that particular country cannot afford to access the investments that those investors must put in place. It is the duty of any given government to protect its citizens. So, and I told you in my opening remarks that if you had a body of engineers, and Edisha is here, he worked for power and lighting.
Clearly say that we are paying you for supplying air. Even without establishing whether or not they are supplying air, there are contracts that are signed under take or pay agreement, whether you have cheaper power available or not.
And in April, 2 independent power producers blamed the soaring prices of heavy fuel oil for the high cost of power in the country. Thika Power Limited and Iber Africa Power told the Senate Energy Committee on Monday that thermal IPPs are not the reason behind the high cost of electricity as, quote, people may want to believe, unquote.
The owners of these companies worked in the Ministry of Energy. And that is why you find a company like Thika Power, you've already paid them capacity charge, you're finished with them. They're still saying that even after the Kenyans are paid for the electricity, they want to own that company. It's not possible. It's not possible. You can't eat your own children. You know, you can't eat the gentlemen who have been paying your salaries. You can't go back there and now start charging them, because apart from KenGen, which is charging Kenya 7 shillings per kilowatt hour, these other companies are charging 30 shillings.
All right.
If you go on the Lifeline charge, it is 12 shillings per kilowatt hour, but if you add taxes, it translates 17. The normal, me and you and Dr. Tuoli, we pay about 26 shillings per kilowatt hour.
Thank you.
So therefore means even what Kenya Power is getting from this IPP is zero.
George Njenga, a director at the two farms, named drought and weakening shilling as other factors contributing to high electricity costs. On Thursday, Energy Committee Chair Vincent Musyoka Kawaya noted their investigations have shown that 70% of power last year came from KenGen, while IPPs accounted for 30% of electricity produced. He, however, said 70% of the total amount paid by Kenya Power went to IPPs, while KenGen only got 30% of the cash.
Whatever they produce, you must buy by force. Like Turkana is signed in that particular manner, that whatever it is they produce, you must buy by force, even if you have a cheaper source at that particular time. That is the agreement now. Now, with that agreement, there's nothing else to establish other than to understand why it was signed that way in the first place. There are others who are paying huge amounts of money through what you call capacity charge. Then you are paying them for keeping the generators there, just to keep the generators there. The amount of money we pay them, 1%, only 1% is for the power they are supplying, 99% is for keeping the generators there. But the agreement says we pay them for keeping the generators there. And you can't tell them today to take their generators. If you take them their generators, if you tell them to take their generators away, you pay them the money you agreed.
A presidential task force attributed to the A presidential task force attributed the expensive electricity partly to costly power purchase agreements that Kenya Power inked with IPPs. The cost of electricity has been at an all-time high, affecting the cost of living and doing business. The presidential task force investigated the reasons for the high cost of electricity and concluded that Kenya Power's involvement in expensive and uncompetitive power purchase deals with IPPs was the main cause. According to Kenya Private Sector Alliance, the cost of electricity has risen by over 70% in the last decade, a scenario that has eroded Kenya's competitiveness. For Maisha Prime, Maisha Television, I'm Bushabi Jr.
Now to the world's shocking and sad news in the Middle East. Gaza's humanitarian crisis deepened on Thursday and likely to worsen in the following days as Israeli jets continue to pound the densely populated enclave in response to Hamas' brutal terror attacks. Israel government went ahead to form an emergency war cabinet and ordered hospitals to prepare for an expected escalation of violence. The decades-old conflict between Israelis and Palestinians entered uncharted territory this week after Israel suffered its worst attack by a Palestinian militant since its founding 75 years ago. Sandra Kidamani brings us that story.
Burnt out abandoned cars by the roadside. All that's left of a mass killing at a music festival. The bodies of the attackers still lie on the ground. The vehicles they used still there too. They are powerful machine guns trained on ordinary families.
More than 200 terrorists, hundreds of them killed in the kibbutz. But you know, it's not a war, it's not a battlefield, it's a massacre.
Inside a home in the nearby town of Ofakim, bullet holes and bloodstains are everywhere. David and his wife were held hostage for 18 hours by 5 Hamas militants.
They said in the morning, we will put a bullet in your head, but at 2:30 the military came. We hid there, and here was a gunfight, shots, bullets, grenades. How we came out of this alive, I don't know.
CCTV cameras captured gunmen marauding around the neighborhood and opening firearms. Inside their home, David's wife Raquel tried to talk to them.
I told them, we're brothers. Why are you doing this? We should make peace. He said, we're not brothers. I'm a martyr. And he put a gun to my husband's head.
It was terrifying. Hamas had brutally gunned down hundreds of ordinary Israel. But at times here, it was also surreal, like when militants demanded for food and a neighbor dropped off chicken and rice.
We gave them Coke Zero, and they said, no, we want Diet Coke. He asked me, do you know this famous Israeli singer? And I said, yes. He started singing. My wife sang with him. We sang together, and suddenly their minds changed.
They are terrorists who came to kill us, but I turned it around, offered them food and drink, treated their wounds as if they were my guests.
Israel is a country in mourning. More Israelis were killed here on Saturday than throughout the whole of the long and bloody Second Intifada. This is also a country that wants revenge. The distance, plumes of smoke from the bombardment of Gaza. Britain's Foreign Secretary was today in Ofakim to show his solidarity with the victims of the Hamas attack.
Try and regain those people who have been kidnapped. When I was in Israel a few weeks ago, of course, we discussed the security situation. We discussed Israel's work to minimize civilian casualties. But of course, what we do know is that Hamas habitually embeds its military its military capabilities, its terrorist capabilities within civilian populations. What we want to see is as few casualties as possible.
Back in Beirut, there is now a huge military presence. Many of the soldiers here will likely soon head to Gaza. Some will die. Many more Palestinians will too. But as the Israelis see it, this attack leaves them no choice.
Well, I think you should see the formation of the new National Unity Government, and it's still possible that more members of the opposition will join the new coalition, because it is a time when national unity is required. You'll recall, and you've done reports about this, that Israeli politics has over the last few months been very polarized, very cantankerous, and I think if we can say anything good about all the horror that we've been through over the last few days, is that I think maybe it was a slap in the face for Israelis, that we have to understand that what divides us, and we have very robust political debates in this country, but ultimately the threats out there, they don't care who you vote for, they don't care if you're left or right or center, they want to kill us, and we should unite in meeting this common threat.
They have taken 2.2 million people hostages to Israel. They're depriving them from food, from water, from electricity, and from medicine. And the third plan, which is very clear, and Netanyahu said it, he said all people in Gaza must leave their homes. Where should they go to? To the sea? The military spokesperson who said that all people in Gaza must leave to Egypt. That means that the real Israeli plan is really to ethnically cleanse 2.2 million people in Gaza.
The ambulance sirens never stop, nor the attempt to save those who might survive. The relentless Israeli bombardment of the Khan Yunis camp in Gaza. Adrenaline keeps them running, keeps them trying to rescue anyone they can. The children, of course, the children more than anyone.
Don't be scared, he tells his daughters, don't be scared.
The Israelis say they are not targeting civilians, but where should the civilians go? Yes, there might have been Hamas fighters hiding here. There probably were. But the destruction is total. The bombs did not discriminate. And Israeli hostages are under bombardment too. We don't know where they were being held. Outside the hospital, amongst the bodies, Allah Al-Kafane alone. Now he has lost his pregnant wife, father, brother, uncle, 2 cousins and 2 members of the extended family.
We received the message to leave Beit Hanun town, so we went to beach refugee camp. They had threatened the building we were in, so we're looking for safety in the beach camp. But the building we were in was also threatened. So we had to move to Sheikh Radwan town, where we stayed in an apartment. Suddenly, around 4 a.m., a strike hit us. We don't know why. We've done nothing.
Terror from the skies, kind of white smoke that fall in an arc. Without tests on the ground, experts can't confirm that this is the incendiary weapon, whip phosphorus. And Israelis deny that they are using it. Contact with water doesn't quench the heat, and if launched into a populated area, it would give people hundreds burns. It's hard to imagine how anything could be left in the ruins. But if you have almost nothing, you retrieve what you can. And you think who to blame? Hamas, the Israelis, governments that pay only lip service to the life of the Palestinians?
We don't blame the Jews. We blame the corrupt Arab regimes from the Gulf to the ocean. The Arab regimes are all corrupt. The Palestinian people are steadfast on their land. No matter how long it takes, we must return to our country.
Sandra Kidamani, Maisha Prime, Maisha Television.
Well, moving on, Transport Cabinet Secretary say he is confident that the Karenga airstrip in Kericho will handle air traffic expected during the Mashujaa Day celebrations. Speaking during an inspection tour of the airstrip, he said a successful takeoff by the First Lady, Mama Rachel Ruto, showed the airstrip is ready. Murkomen says phase 2 of the project will commence after Mashujaa Day celebrations, which with works including the expansion of the runway. The CS has dismissed critics of the project, saying it is economically viable.
This morning I have come to inspect the state of the Karenga Airport project or airstrip project here in Kericho. I am very pleased with the work that is already done by the contractor and with the supervision and leadership of the Kenya Defence Forces and the Kenya Airports Authority that have made it possible for us in the shortest time possible, in less than 3 weeks actually, that we've been able to do such a very important facility, a very good runway. I want to congratulate the team led by Colonel Mutuku here and Engineer Banas of KA for a job well done. I am happy that a test landing and takeoff was done 2 days ago, and I'm also pleased that the First Lady landed here yesterday and took off. She told me it was a very good flight, both in landing and taking off. I am very happy that the story of Karenga Airport or airstrip has been discussed for many years in this county. It has always been a dream of the people and the residents of this county, including their leadership, to have an airstrip that is going to enhance matters transport, that is going to ensure that this place is opened up. Kericho County is opened up, but not just Kericho County, but the entire region. This airstrip, our plan is to, as I said earlier, what you've seen has been done by the team here to the gravel standard is 1.2 kilometers. This airport airstrip at the moment can actually comfortably carry planes with between 30 to 37 people landing and taking off. But this being a higher altitude, we want for maximum utilization of this facility to extend it by another 800 meters to 2 kilometers. This airport is going to change matters transport. It's going to make transport in this region to become efficient, to become more competitive, to make movement of persons and goods to become faster. Number two, this airstrip is going to enhance tourism. Tourists now will have an opportunity to also have a facility where they can land, enjoy the scenery of Kericho and its environment. It will also they enjoy tea, take some time here before they can take off to other areas. So in terms of tourism circle, this airport is going to be able to open the tourism in this region. So this airport and airstrip at this point in time is a great vision that we have. As Kenya Kwanza, we promise that we are going to develop this country from the bottom up, that we are going to make services accessible to the people, to the lowest level. And because of such facilities we are building, I can tell you for sure that we are going to reduce the cost of transport, meaning therefore that many people will have the opportunity and affordability to be able to fly from different parts of the country. And I am very, very, very happy. This is a beginning. This is phase one of this project. This is a humble beginning. And I tell those critics that don't believe in what's happening in Kericho, that don't despise the days of humble beginning. Because this airstrip you are seeing, as it starts at this moment, give me another 2 years, come back here to Kericho, and you will never believe the amount of development that will have happened in this Kericho as a result of this airstrip. We are going to, I had a meeting yesterday with the Ekatera group, who are the leaseholders at the moment of this property. You know the landlord is Kericho County. The leaseholders at the moment is Ekatera. They have a lease period that is still subsisting in this property. We have no desire to quarrel with them. They are rightful investors in our country. I invited their team to come to my office yesterday. We had a very good meeting. We agreed on the way forward. We have agreed that Ekatera will second a senior person to work with a senior person from Kenya Airports Authority to survey the area, to know the distance we are going to get, how much land we need for us to get an airport of 2 kilometers. Eventually, they will do a report. They will send to me. I will sit with Ekatera. I will sit with the county government of Kericho. I will sit with the leaders from Kericho. And under the leadership of the president, we will resolve the question of the land that will be reserved for the airport.
All right, allow me to take a short commercial break. I'll be right back with more news.
Watoto kwa mara nyingine Maisha TV inakuletea Maisha Kids Festival tarehe 14 mwezi huu mjini Bungoma katika Bungoma Royal Suites. Doing swimming and suspending. Oh really? Nyuma ya Bungoma Low Courts, kiingilio ni shilingi 300 kila mtoto.
Na mzazi ni bure. Kisha utajienjoy na face painting, car racing, swimming, slides, talent showcasing for free. Kiingilio ni kuanzia saa 4 asubuhi hadi saa 11.
Kiingilio ni shilingi 300 pekee. Maisha TV Kids, usikose.
Maisha Special Report.
The signings were happening.
Bringing you the top headlines across the country.
And his deputy. Ellen and Boyd.
The most compelling moments feeding in from around the nation. And the stories and people you might not be aware of, but you should be.
Sisi tulimaliza uchaguzi tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8.
Mnatupa tia kasi kufanya kazi gani?
We'll give you a front row seat to what's happening and show you why it matters. Maisha Special Report. We've got the country covered in 60 minutes.
841 or write to info@maishatv.co.ke.
Welcome back. You're watching Maisha Prime. My name is Rida Chebet Kering. Thank you for keeping it here. Now let me usher in our education segment.
Kenya as a country has valued education, and at a time when knowledge is required for thriving in a fast-growing society, the government has put measures to ensure that every child is entitled to education. This is the case with the Okodoi Secondary School, headed by Mr. John Ouma, who now spearheads an academic evolution in Teso Sub-County, Busia County.
Majina naitwa Ouma John. Ndimi mwalimu mkuu wa shule ya upili ya Baba Okodoi. Niliingia hapa mnamo mwaka wa 2016. Tangu wakati huo wanafunzi walikuwa 540, lakini kwa hivi sasa idadi imeongezeka from 540 to 960. Walimu ni wachapakazi, tunashirikiana nao pamoja kwa minajili ya kusukuma hili gurudumu. Kiakademia ni kwamba tumekuwa shule bora kwa miaka miwili mtawalia. Mwaka 2020 tulitoa wanafunzi wawili waliokuwa na ya kuondoa, na ndio ilikuwa shule bora Teso Kusini kwa kutoa mwanafunzi. Mnamo mwaka wa 2018 hali kadhalika tukatoa mwanafunzi bora Teso Kusini. Hilo ni jambo ambalo nafikia litokea kwa sababu ya ushirikiano ambao tulikuwa nao walimu pamoja na halmashauri ya shule na chama cha walimu na wazazi.
The school principal says that the growth in academics is anchored on discipline, performing staff and supportive community as well as county and national governments.
Majengo tangu niingie hapa tumejenga majengo mbalimbali, madarasa mbalimbali tukishirikiana na halmashauri ya shule. Hali kadhalika mashirika mbalimbali kama World Bank wametujengea maabara na darasa 2. Serikali haikuachwa nyuma, ikatuletea darasa 1 CBC kwa minajili ya wale wanafunzi wa grade ya 6 ambao watafika humu shuleni.
Apart from the academic leverage, the school has invested in other economic-based programs such as fish farming and maize farming.
Miradi mbalimbali tumeanzisha. Kuna fish pond, kuna tumejenga vio, tumejenga miti, tumepanda miti mbalimbali ili kuboresha mazingira yetu. Madarasa tangu niingie hapa nimejenga karibu madarasa 6. Idadi ya wanafunzi ilivyokuwa ikiongezeka, ndiposa nikafikiria kwamba ni lazima madarasa hayo yajengwe.
With the help of the passionate teaching staff, the school is growing to even an excellent academic performance in the coming KCSE exams.
Wanafunzi wa mwaka huu jinsi tunavyowachuja huenda wakafanikiwa pia. Kinidhamu ni wanafunzi ambao wana nidhamu ya hali ya juu. Hili ni swala ambalo naweza kusema linatokana na walimu kwa sababu ya ushirikiano wao. Kile ambacho tumekishikilia zaidi ni kuona ya kwamba wanafunzi wetu wanapaa mbele kielimu. Ujumbe wangu kwa wanafunzi wa kidato cha 4 ni kwamba uzi ni ule ule. Kile ambacho kitakupatia kitu bora kwa maisha yako ya halafu ni kusoma kwa bidii, ili angaa upate mafanikio ya baadaye na uwe Mkenya ambaye anaweza kuaminiwa kwa lolote lile ambalo utalifanya.
For Maisha Prime Education Segment, Ambushabi Junior.
Alright, now it is time for agricultural feature Kilimo Chapa. Let me usher in our reporter Sandra Kidamani with our today's Kilimo Chapa segment.
Cultivation of bell pepper. Bell pepper, commonly known as pilipili hoho, are a common weather crop and popular nightshade for both eating raw and cooking. Crunchy sweet bell pepper plants lack capsaicin, the active component in hot peppers. How to plant bell pepper. Bell peppers have a long growing season and seeds are often started indoors around 2 months before the last spring frost date. If your climate is not ideal for growing peppers, germinating your seeds indoors first is recommended. To germinate, fill a planting tray with soil and plant your bell pepper seeds 1/4 inch deep. Water, provide sun and keep them warm. You can place the seeds near a heating pad if necessary. Keep your seeds in temperatures of at least 70 degrees. Harden off your plant. After 1 to 3 weeks of germination, bell pepper seedlings should have sprouted and are ready for transplanting outside. However, bell peppers are especially vulnerable to transplant shock and they'll need to adjust to the outside environment about 10 days before planting. Gently introduce your seedlings to exterior conditions for small amounts of time per day. Gradually increase the amount of time they spend outdoors, which helps them acclimate better and prevent wilting or stunted growth, leading to more healthy plants. Transplant outdoors. When your garden soil temperature has reached at least 65 degrees, your bell peppers are ready for transplant. Keep your seedlings 18 to 24 inches apart and bury them in well-draining soil deep enough so their root ball is covered. Bell pepper plant care tips. Bell peppers prefer rich soil that is more sandy or loamy, which keeps your ground conditions well drained and warm. Bell peppers also like a soil pH between 6 and 6.8 to give your bell pepper plants proper care they need. Black plastic mulch can help absorb the sun and keep your ground soil warm. Grass clippings are also good for bell peppers as they can help smooth the weeds that can damage their delicate root system. Water carefully. Bell peppers need deep watering about 1 to 2 inches per week. Although bell peppers like warm weather, they will not flourish in intense heat. Gardeners in climates that are prone to higher temperatures should water twice a day if necessary. Dry conditions will cause bitter tasting in peppers, but overwatering can suffocate the roots or lead to blossom end rot, which happens if the calcium in the soil is depleted. Monitor your watering carefully and keep it as balanced as possible. Provide sun. Bell peppers need full sun to grow and ripen properly. Keep them in a sunny spot in your vegetable garden. Use right fertilizer. Use the right fertilizers. Fertilize with a compound that's low in nitrogen to help your bell peppers grow without affecting the rate of fruit production. Stake. While not a necessity, staking your bell peppers can help them off the ground away from pests and also help reduce sun scald, which can occur if the pepper is exposed to direct sunlight. Check for pests. Aphids and flea beetles are two garden pests that love bell peppers. Use organic insecticides and tend your plant often to keep plant invasions under control. Companion plant. Bell peppers do well around corn, cucumbers and carrots, but do not thrive well near cabbages. Harvesting bell pepper. Bell peppers take 60 to 90 days to ripen, depending on which pepper varieties you want. Green peppers are the least mature and most bitter, but if you leave a green pepper on a vine, it will evolve to yellow then orange before fully ripening into a red pepper, which is the sweetest version. To harvest a bell pepper, use a sharp knife or scissor to separate the fruit from the plant. Tearing it with your hands can damage the plant, leaving about an inch of the stem behind. Sandra Kidamani, Kilimo Chapa, Maisha Television.
Thank you so much, Sandra Kidamani. And now let's have a look at our My Hustle segment. This is the story of one little soul, Abigail Pili, meaning Abigail II, named after Ogama's firstborn daughter, who died in 2009 after he moved to his new residence in Ranje village. The year 2020 evokes vivid memories of a sad event the residents of Ranje in Kandui constituency in Bungoma County will live to remember. During that year, the then 3-month-old Abigail was picked up from a sugarcane plantation where she was abandoned for death by her mother. Without food, water and motherly protection, Abigail was sure left in the hands of fate. However, as fate will take its course, Abigail was discovered by Mr. Charles Ogama's wife after hearing the sound of a crying baby in the nearby sugarcane plantation.
Sasa katika hii mzunguko yangu ya kwenda kazi huu mwaka wa corona 2002 nikiwa kazini Nakuru, mama alinipigia simu karibu saa 5 mchana kwamba ameokota mtoto. Mimi nikamuuliza, mama, watu wanaokota pesa na wewe unaokota mtoto? Akaniambia nimeokota mtoto. Wakati nikoja bado namsumbua na maswali, akaniambia, baba, huyu mtoto ana njaa, wacha nimshughulikie, nimpatie tu uji, hata kama ile uji niko nayo ni watoto wakubwa, lakini alafu nimpeleke polisi kwanza niandikishe. Huyu mtoto was 3 months old mama akimpata akiwa kwa abandoned kwa shamba la miwa huko.
The sound of the baby led to Mr. Ogama's family tracing its location, where they were met by a shocking reality when their eyes beheld a bizarre scenario the baby was involved in.
Katika ile hali alimpata na vile alinielezea na wale walikuwa pale walinielezea, inaonekana huyu mtoto alitupa pale mwendo kama saa 11 asubuhi. Cha ajabu ni kwamba huu mwendo wa saa 11 asubuhi ule kijana alimpata alifikiria ni mtoto wa jirani juu alikuwa analia na hisi ilikuwa baridi. Akarudi huko mara mbili mpaka kaenda akatoa mama mwingine shambani kumwambia, na huyu mtoto unaweka mtoto shambani asubuhi, mtoto analia na usikia. Akasema mimi huyo si wangu niko na yeye.
Penye nilifika pale nikasema kama mtoto ametupwa hapa na hakuna mwenyewe, sinichukua huyu mtoto. Kwanza niliuliza ni mtoto gani, wakaniambia ni mtoto msichana. Nikasema na mimi sina mtoto msichana, mtoto wangu msichana mwenye at least angeningoja saa hizi ayuko alikufa. Nikasema sinichukue huyu mtoto, na wakaniambia hapana, usisonge huko, angalia nyoka ndio ile pale.
According to the family, the baby was wrapped by a slithering python, which at first caused the whole family to panic. The fate of the baby was at stake.
Alikuwa amelalishwa chini ya lantana, na nyoka imejifunga kwa hiyo lantana, imeegemea kulikuwa na bag fulani, kulikuwa na paper bag imewekwa nguo zake, iko hapo. Sasa kila mtu alikuwa akienda kuchukua hiyo mtoto, hiyo nyoka inatokezea na anatoroka. Kwanza waliniambia hapana mama Kilifu, usienda huko, hiyo nyoka itakuuma. Nikamwambia mimi sitaki kujua na hiyo nyoka.
Sasa wakati walisongea huyo mtoto akakuta kweli ni mtoto amelalishwa hapo, anatungua kidogo kwa bag, na mtoto mwenyewe amelaliwa na nyoka. Nyoka imelalia mtoto, nyoka imelalia mfuko yake ya nguo. Sasa wale walimfikia wa kwanza kwa hiyo saa 12 asubuhi, wakijaribu kumchukua nyoka haikuwa ruhusu. Ilikuwa inawafukuza, wanaenda inarudi na lalia huyo mtoto. Mpaka watu wakaitana, mama aliitwa kama mtu wa mwisho kuja kuona maajabu ya yale yalikuwa yanatendeka. Kweli mama kwenda akakuta mtoto yuko pale analia njaa na watu wameogopa kumtoa. Anasema unaona nyoka imetuzuia. Sasa mama huwa ana shida ya mgongo. Akaimiza kijana mmoja, na huyu mtoto sasa kufia hapa njaa, simnipatie niende naye nyumbani. Wakati huo nyoka naye ikamtoka, akachukua mtoto akakuja naye.
However, upon seeing the presence of the guests, the snake uncoiled itself from the baby and left. That is when Mr. Ogama's wife picked up the baby from the ground and in a unanimous decision decided to raise the baby.
Kwanza nikitoka kwa nyumba nilisema munipatie maji yangu ya baraka niende naye, twende tumwagie hiyo nyoka ni kaibilisi tu, nichukue huyo mtoto. Watoto wakatafuta hiyo maji ya baraka hawakuona. Nikasema wacha tu niende. Nikaenda, sikuona nyoka, lakini walikuwa wananiambia usiende, nyoka ndio ile. Wengine walikuwa wanaiona, lakini mimi kusema kweli sikuona nyoka. Nikachukua mtoto kabeba nikakuja naye hapa kwa boma.
Huo ndio wakati mama sasa akanipigia simu. Wakati alishafika kwa nyumba akaniambia, baba, nimeokota mtoto na ninapeleka polisi.
Mr. Charles named the baby Abigail Pili after his late daughter who had passed on in 2009.
Sana amekuwa mkubwa. Sasa mimi nashukuru tu Mungu. Mimi mwenyewe nimezeeka. Mzee pia ndio wewe mnamuona amezeeka. Yaani ombi langu tu, huyu ni mtoto wetu sisi wote kama jamii. Yaani sijui hata niseme nini. Kama kungepatikana tu well wisher mwenye anaweza nisaidia. Mimi yangu ni kulea, lakini ako na mahitaji mingi sana. Kuna kwenda shule, kama saizi nimelikapeleka kako play group. Kuna kwenda shule, kuna vitu kidogo kidogo. Wanisaidie tu nimlee, pengine atakuwa wa manufaa kwa jamii wakati mwingine.
According to the family, 3 years later, the family is yet to know the whereabouts of the parents of the child or how the baby ended up at the sugarcane plantation and why she was being protected by a serpent.
Muda wote wa hiyo miaka tangu 2000 August tarehe 13 2020 mpaka saa hii tuko na huyo mtoto. Tumerejea polisi mara 3 kuuliza kama kuna mtu ameulizia, tukaenda Children's Department wa tarehe 13 August 2020 wakati wa corona. So baada ya hiyo tukakaa na yeye miezi 3, tukarejea polisi pale kuulizia kama kungekuwa na ripoti yote mtu anatafuta mtoto. Polisi wakasema hajakuwa na ripoti. Tukaenda Children's Department. Sasa wakati huo nilihusika. Kwanza mama alikuwa anaenda peke yake. Hii ya pili hii nilihusika. Tukakuta hakukuwa na ripoti. Sasa wakati huo wote tumekuwa tukilea huyo mtoto, na tangu nimpate naye Mungu naye ana maajabu yake. Hatukukuwa na maziwa. Miezi 3 baadaye ng'ombe wangu akazaa, tukapata maziwa, akakunywa maziwa. Na mimi ninapozunguka ile kitu mimi kuwa tunanunua ile imemlea huyu mtoto, sijui alinyonya mara mwisho lini. Nimekuwa nanunua chakula kienyeji mama anatengeneza hapa. Hasa marantas, sikosi kununua marantas kwa baga yangu. Na inunua hero. Anakuja anatengeneza na hizo vitu zingine, mtoto anakunywa. Tumemlea hiyo mpaka saa hii vile tumemfikisha kwenda shuleni.
Nilipata marehemu Father Nyonyi, alikuwa amesimama mbele ya ofisi hapo. Akaniuliza, mama nikusaidie nini? Najua mimi ni mwana liturgy. Sasa alipendanga kuniita saa zingine size yangu hivyo, unikusaidia nini? Nikamwambia Father, mimi nimeokota mtoto. Akaniuliza, wote umeokota mtoto? Umeokotaje mtoto? Umeokota wapi? Benya alikuanga strict hivyo. Nikamwambia Father, nimeokota mtoto karibu tu na area yangu. Akaniambia kwenda huko. Hapana, huu ni watoto wenu ndio wanatupa watoto hivyo. Nikamwambia Father, mimi hata watoto wangu wako karibu. Na akaniambia hata watoto wa jirani zako ni watoto wako. Nikamwambia basi Father, mimi naomba unibarikie huyu mtoto nje niende naye kwa nyumba. Kweli Father akanibarikia mtoto. Na akaniuliza, umepeleka polisi? Nikamwambia
For everything you do, God has a reward. Stay tuned for the continuation of our special feature in our next bulletin. I'm Rida Kirin Chebet. And that marks the end of today's Maisha Prime News. Thank you for keeping it here. My name is Rida Kirin Chebet. Enjoy the rest of your view.